Now then, attitude to co-workers. Well, here I think you still have problems. Well, not only with your seniors, but with your juniors as well, in that you don't keep your place within the team. You seem to find it hard to take criticism from those above you and to give it to those below you. Now, that's relevant to what I have to say in a moment. Professional behaviour, well, there's not much to say there. On the whole, average. Right now, before we go any further, is there anything in your personal life that might affect your progress? Any problems at all?
No.
Ward 14, Sister Easby. Yes. Yes, fine. 3 o'clock. Thank you. No personal problems. Then I'm right in what I feel. And that is that you're probably arrogant, nurse. Now, my first comment was that your application to work was badly affected by your over-involvement with the patients. You've got too much time for chat and not enough time for the chores that have to be done. Oh, this is what I think makes it difficult within the team. The other nurses seem to think that you don't pull your weight. But I frequently hear Nurse Brent chivying you along to ensure that the work gets done. That shouldn't be necessary.
It isn't necessary.
And what do you mean?
I don't need Shirley to tell me what to do. She knows that. Nagging me just makes her feel important.
And that remark illustrates another point, nurse. You do need Nurse Brent to tell you what to do. She's more experienced nurse and senior to you. You show a lack of respect to those above you, which in many cases amounts to downright disobedience. You know, of course, that I have in mind a specific incident to prove my point. Whatever your reasons were for not reporting that Nigel Clark had cake in his locker, they had certainly nothing to do with being a nurse. And I may also say that they were, and are, incompatible with nursing. You were specifically told that that boy was to be on a special diet, that it was very important that he consume nothing which contained or was made of wheat flour. And yet, in flagrant defiance of those instructions, you allowed him to eat the cake his mother had brought him. Now, a lot of the blame must lie with the mother, but far more with you. You're a nurse. 2/3 of the way into your training, you ought to know better. Now, I need hardly say I'm very disappointed in you over this, and I'm sure your nursing tutor will be too.
But you don't understand. He was unhappy. His mother had brought him the cake to cheer him up. If I'd taken it away, he would have been even more unhappy.
Nevertheless...
And it didn't do him any harm.
That, nurse, is not the point. Look, if you felt it was so important, you should have brought the cake to me, or whoever was the most senior nurse on duty, and explained how you felt. Then maybe we could have seen what could be done.
But Nigel wanted it then and there. If I'd taken it away, he'd never have believed he'd get it back. It was his only bit of home.
Oh, don't be sentimental, nurse.
But it's true. That's what you don't understand. It's all the little things that matter. All the things that hospitals don't take account of. That's why people are so miserable when they come here.
Do you think, nurse, that you're the only one that's capable of understanding? We're all human. We're all capable of compassion. Otherwise, we wouldn't be nurses. You don't have a monopoly, you know.
I'm sorry.
Now, that's what I mean by arrogance.
I can't help what I feel.
Well, you could try. Perhaps extend your understanding to the people you work with as well as the patients. Well, it won't be so easy, but it might be more rewarding in time. Now, the patients make it easy for you. They're always ready to love you, grateful for a bit of attention. But the other staff, well, they're overworked and often not ready to love you at all. But it doesn't mean to say that they wouldn't be grateful for a bit of understanding all the same.
I get on quite well with them.
Yes, I know, in social terms. But in professional terms, there is a difference. The ability to work independently, it's not a bad thing, but it must go hand in hand with an awareness of your place within the team. Well, maybe that's something to think about. Well, I don't think there's anything more to say, do you? Now, why don't you just look the form over and then sign the back? Oh, just one moment, dear.
Why do you say I'm easily ruffled, put out by unusual or difficult situations?
Perhaps you'd better come back later. Because nobody can deal efficiently and effectively in emergency if they can't work well within a team. It follows on from what we've just been talking about.
I'm sorry, sister, I don't think I can sign this.
What?
I think some of the points you've made may be true, but I think you've been unnecessarily harsh, and I don't think I can put my signature to it.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, girl. Well, the signature's just to prove you've read it and had a chance to discuss it.
It also implies that I agree with it, which I don't.
It does nothing of the sort. Look, all the nurses have to sign as part of the procedure.
They don't have to. There's nothing which says we have to sign. I don't want to sign. I want to indicate that I disagree with what is said.
Well, put that in the nurse's comments.
Oh, who takes any notice of the nurse's comments?
I don't know. This is all very childish. And arrogant.
I'm sorry, but it's all I've got, isn't it? I mean, you can write down whatever you like on that form, and I've got no chance to defend myself. I think you've been unfair. All I can do is refuse to acknowledge what you've written.
Oh, dear. You're a foolish girl, you really are.
Why? Because I don't agree with you?
Now, don't be impertinent. Now, look, I haven't got time to sit here arguing with you all day. If you won't sign, well, I suppose that's your privilege. I'll just have to send it in without your signature and see what your nursing tutor has to say about it. Look, what you don't seem to understand is that these assessments are meant to be part of your education. You're still in your training and have a lot to learn.
About nursing, yes.
Well, there's obviously no point in discussing this further. You may go.
All I'm trying to say is, I'm a person. You told me to try and understand the others, and I can see what you mean by that. I take your point. But you don't seem to want to try and understand me. I'm just another student to you, and you think you have the right to make the most personal comments to me without any consideration. Just because you're superior to me in my profession. You don't give me a real chance to say what I think. You're just not interested because it's not part of the job. Well, I'm not used to that. I'm used to treating people as human beings and getting the same in return. I've always got on very well with people, even people I've worked with until now. But since I came on this ward, there's been nothing but problems. I've tried to get on with the others, and now you attack me like this. It's simply not fair.
Just a minute, nurse. Come back here. Shut the door. Come back and sit down. Just rushing out in that state. That's not very fair to me, is it? Besides, what would the patients say if they saw you? Here, blow your nose. Now, all this seems to have got a bit out of hand. There's really no need to make it into a great drama, you know. Like, I know it may sound harsh to you, but it's part of my job to point out
But what
to you
you put isn't anything to do with my work, it's to do with me.
But you are your work. Don't you understand that?
You know nothing about me. How can you be justified in putting down that I'm arrogant and disobedient?
But can't you understand? It's for your own good. Because I think you've got the makings of an excellent nurse. And I don't like to see you going wrong. Look, what I suggest you do is this. Put down in the nurse's comments that you disagree or whatever, and then sign the form. And I'll send a note to your nursing tutor telling her that you disagree, and then she can discuss it with you further. But just not signing, well, that's a negative gesture. And although these forms go down in the records, well, they are seen as part of a whole. Well, my impression will just be one of many by the time you've finished your training on the wards. And if what I say is true, then it'll be confirmed by all the others. And you can't just refuse to sign them all, can you? But if none of the others back it up, then it'll be ignored, won't it? You know, I think you should have enough faith in yourself to know that you can prove that. It'll go down in the records that you disagree with me. And if all the other appraisals say that you're wonderful, then everybody will know that you were right and I was wrong. Believe me, that would please me a great deal. Well, if you don't sign at all, well, nobody will know what you were trying to prove. Do you see what I mean?
All right.
Good girl. I don't pretend to be infallible. If I make a mistake, I trust to the system to show me up. Usually does. There. That's done. Don't take it so personally. You're a friendly, good-hearted girl. We could do with more like you. Well, I think we'd both better get on with some work.
Yes. Thank you, sister.
Bye-bye, nice Longhurst. See you later.